Hi, I'm Jo from J.H.Leather, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to create this awesome zipped wallet. Now this wallet build is a little bit more technical than some of the other wallets we have made on this channel so far, but I'm going to be with you every step of the way talking you through how to create one. Let's get started. So these patterns are available as both a PDF pattern pack download and an acrylic template set, and I'll be leaving links in the description for you to pick up either of these options. Now once you have your patterns, what we're going to do is start cutting out our pieces. So for me, I'm going to roughly mark out my pieces first, and then once I've cut my leather down to a more manageable size, I can then use the patterns and actually draw around them onto my pieces of leather and then cut them out nice and accurately. So the thicknesses for each piece of leather is going to be included in the pattern pack download, and if you buy the acrylic template set, you will also get that included in that pack. When drawing around the inner body of your wallet, we want to transfer those maker's marks on the inside. Now I'm using a silver pen to mark around my patterns because I'm using a dark coloured textured leather and I find this easier to see. Now on the zip puller, what I'm going to do is reinforce that with some nylon tape first and then draw around my pattern and cut that out. And once we've drawn around the rest of our patterns, we can cut them out accurately. So what I like to do is use a ruler and a rotary knife and cut all my straight edges. And then using my head knife, I'm going to go around and cut all the rounded corners and the sort of cut out areas. Now with the gussets, what I'm going to do is actually reinforce them with some fabric. So what I have here is some ripstop nylon, and now what I would say to you is actually to glue on the main piece of leather first and then cut out the gussets because you'll get a better fit with the backing on. However, what I've done here is actually glue them on afterwards and then I'm going to trim around them. What you can then do is use a lighter and just melt the edges of that canvas or fabric that you have used, and that's just going to seal the edges. And then what we can do is start doing some of our edge finishing. So what I'm going to do first, as I'm going to be using edge paint, I am actually going to do my creasing first so that I then don't have to disturb the painted edge once that's done. And the information pack will have written down all the bits that you need to do your creasing on. And then what we're going to do is once we've done our creasing, we can put some edge paint on each of those pieces. Now you can build this up in layers, and what I did was actually do 3 layers on each painted section. Once that edge paint has dried, we can do some more prep work. So what I'm going to do is set my dividers to 5mm and draw a line across the bottom of each of my T-slots. And then, like I said, I'm just going to go over that with a silver pen so I can see that more clearly. And then what we're going to do is do some skiving. So we're going to skive along the bottom edge and along the 2 diagonal edges and just skive that area down to nothing. This is going to reduce bulk in the finished wallet, and it's going to make it easier for our cards to fit into these slots. And for this, I'm using a mini paring knife. Now once we've done that, we can start to do some assembly. So what I'm going to do is start by putting some glue into my inner wallet where the top of those T-slots is going to sit, and I can use my pattern to help guide me where the top bits of glue need to go. And I'm also going to glue on the back of my T-slots. Now, once that glue has gone tacky, what we can do is glue those in. And again, using the template, we're going to make sure that they are in line and nice and straight. Once you've got your T-slots glued in, what we can do is use a stitch marker and stitch mark along that line. Now I am using a 3.38mm iron here. So when I come to stitch these in, what I'm going to do is actually miss out one of these stitch mark holes and do some extra long stitches. Now the reason for this is because we don't really need to stitch every single hole here, and we will not be seeing this on the final wallet. Now if you have a larger stitch marker, you can just use that, or you can do this method that I have done here. Once we've got the first of those stitched in, we can just tap the stitches with a hammer. And then we can apply our glue to both the inner wallet and the next set of T-slots and get them ready to get stuck into the wallet. And then once the glue is gone tacky, we can stick those in, making sure they are nice and lined up with the first T-slot. And then again, we can stitch mark along that stitch line across the bottom of them. And then stitch this slot in as well. We can then tap the stitching flat, and then what we're going to do is stick on our front pocket. So we're going to once more apply our glue to both the inner wallet and around our pocket, and then once they are nice and tacky, we can stick them in. Now my workshop's getting quite cold at the moment, so I'm just using a heater here just to speed up the drying process of the glue before I stick them into my wallet. Once we've got those front pockets stuck in, what we're going to do is just flip the inner wallet over and trim off any excess. And then using our pattern, we can mark on where the stitch line will be. And then using our chosen stitch marker, we can stitch mark all the way along that line. And then this time when we do our stitching, we are going to make sure we stitch every single stitch hole. And I'm going to start with 2 back stitches, because when I finish, I'm going to finish with 1.5. And this way, both ends of the stitching are going to match. Now, a little tip for when you are stitching thinner leather like this, what you can do is actually drop down a thread size. So for me, I'm using a 0.45mm thread, and you don't want to pull your stitches as tight. Now, once you're done stitching, what we're going to do is finish the edges of this inner wallet. So we're going to go around with our creasing iron. And then what we're going to do is apply our edge paint. And again, I have done 3 layers on all the edges of this part of the wallet, allowing each layer to dry fully in between. We can now get our zip puller sorted. So we're going to put the leather through the ring on the zip puller if you have a zipper like this one. And then we can apply our glue to both sides of the puller. And then once that has gone tacky, what we can do is stick that down in place so that all the edges are nice and aligned. And then using our dividers at our stitch marking width, which for me is 3mm, what we can do is draw on our stitch line. And then follow that line with our chosen stitch marker before doing our stitching. And again, I'm going to start with 2 back stitches and finish with 1.5 back stitches. And on your back stitch, what you want is for those threads to sit next to each other rather than one on top of the other. And then you can continue stitching as normal. Now, once you've done stitching that, what we're going to do is go around and crease all the way around both sides of the zip puller to get that crease line nice and prominent. And then using a hot single crease, I'm going to smooth the fibers of the edges of the zip puller and then start to apply my edge paint. And again, I want 3 layers in total on this. The next thing we can start to prepare is the center coin pocket. So what I'm going to do is apply my glue around the 3 edges, and then once they have gone tacky, what we can do is stick those 2 pieces together. Once they are stuck together, we can use our dividers and draw our stitch line across the bottom of our pocket and then follow that stitch line with our stitch marker. And then we can stitch all the way along that line. What we can do next is glue on our gussets. So what we want to do is make sure that we glue the straight edge side of our gusset onto the actual pocket. And then the rounded edge will get glued into the inner wallet at a later time in this build. And we're going to apply our glue to the side that has our reinforcement on. And then once the glue has gone tacky, we can stick them on to our little coin pocket. And we're going to attach all 4. We can then use our dividers to draw on our stitch line. And then follow that with our chosen stitch marker. And then stitch the gussets on. Now, when we come to do our stitching, what I'm going to do is do 1 back stitch and 1 stitch over that top edge. And that's just going to keep all our layers nice and together. And then one stitch, what I'm going to do is actually sand these edges so that they are nice and flush. And then I'm going to add in my crease line. And then using a hot creasing iron, what I'm going to do is just smooth the fibers on these ends before applying my edge paint. And again, I'm going to do 3 layers on each side to get the finish that I want. Now in between, what I do is lightly sand the edges, and then I can also go over them with that hot creaser as well. Once we've done that, we are now ready to cut out some reinforcements for our wallet. So information on the reinforcement I've used is in the information pack included with the downloads and acrylic templates. And once you've got those cut out, what we're going to do is just draw on roughly where they are with our dividers onto the back side of our inner wallet. And then we can apply our glue to both the inner wallet and onto the reinforcements. And then once they have gone tacky, we can stick those into the wallet. Now I've gone ahead and made myself a bit of a zipper tool here using layers of card, and you will get the templates for this included with the PDF pack, and with the acrylic download they are included in the PDF pack that you get with the kit, and you won't get a physical item for these. But what we're going to do is just layer those up so we can make putting on the zip a lot easier. So what we're going to do is wrap our wallet around our zip tool, and then we're just going to use a clip and just clip that in place. And then using our zip, what we're going to do is measure out roughly how long we need by just folding that around where the zip's going to be and giving ourselves some excess on either end. We can then cut that to size. We can then just melt the ends, and then what we're going to do is start to remove some teeth from one end of our zip. And we're going to do that on both sides. And then what you can do is attach your zipper. And then what I'm going to do is actually add on a zip stop. Now you don't necessarily have to put one of these on, but I find that I quite like to, just to make sure that that zipper doesn't actually come off the zip at all. So I'm just going to put the end stop on. So you should have something that looks like this. And what we're going to do is glue that on to the wallet. So I'm going to apply my glue to both the wallet and the end of the zip. And I'm going to stick that on. And what I'm going to do then is just take that off of the zip tool, and I'm going to mark my stitches along that stitch line that we marked in earlier. And now for me, that's about 4 stitches long. And once we've done our stitch marking, we can just stitch that line, and then that's going to secure our zip in place. So you should have your wallet looking a little bit like this. What we're going to do is put that zip tool back into the wallet. And then what we're going to do is wrap the zip around. And then what we're going to do is actually mark where the teeth need to finish on this zip. So that's going to be in line with that little indent that you see here. So we're going to mark that on, and then what we're going to do is remove the teeth up to that point. So we can then seal the ends with our lighter and then remove the teeth. So then what I'm going to do is fit another end stop to the zip to ensure the puller cannot get off the zip. Then what we're going to do is apply our glue. So we're going to apply glue both to the inner wallet that is wrapped around our zip tool, as well as the zip itself. Now I want to be a bit careful with the glue and how far we glue onto the actual zip tape, because we don't want to be able to see it. And then once the glue has gone tacky, we can start to stick that on. So what we're going to do is actually stick down the straight edges first and work our way around the wallet, getting everything nice and flat. And then once we're happy with that, we can start to do the corners. Now, these are quite fiddly, so do take your time on these. And what we're going to do is use a scratchel just to help us get it so there aren't any creases in these corners. And like I said, this is quite fiddly, so do take your time. And if you need to, you can apply a little bit more glue if needed. And just work your way around each of the corners, and you can also use a bone folder to help you get those as flat as possible. Now what I'm going to do, as I'm using quite a soft leather, is I'm actually going to cut myself 2 more reinforcements and actually glue that on top. And what that's going to do is smooth out any of those bumps in the zip tape for me. Now if you are using a more solid leather for the outer part of your wallet, you might not necessarily have to do this step. And so once my glue's gone tacky, I'm going to stick that second reinforcement down. So you should now have your wallet looking something like this. And what we're going to do is just unzip it and take out our little zip tool. And then what we're going to do is stitch mark along the other end of our zip line. And then we're going to stitch that end of the zip into the inner wallet. And now once we've got our zip stuck in, we can then mark our stitch line on to our outer wallet. Now like I said, I'm using a softer leather for the outer wallet of my wallet, and if you are using a different leather, what I suggest you do is just double check where those stitch markers points are on your wallet to ensure that you are going to be stitching in the correct place. You can then stitch mark around the outer wallet, and then what we're going to do is put the zip tool back in and zip up around that. And then we can apply our glue. So for this, we should glue one side at a time because it's a bit more manageable. And what we can do is glue both the outer wallet and the inner wallet. And then we're going to stick one side down at a time, making sure we get our edges of our outer wallet nice and flush with the inner edges of the wallet. And once we've done the one side, we can then apply the glue and stick down the other side of our wallet. And so you should now have something that looks a little bit like this. And what we can do is then take out that zip tool and unzip our wallet all the way around. We can now glue in the sort of coin pocket. So what I'm going to do for this is actually use some double-sided hemming tape, and I'm going to stick that onto the reinforced side of our gussets, and I'm going to do that on all 4 of them now whilst it's outside of the wallet. And the reason I'm using the tape is because it's a lot easier and less messy to use when compared to trying to put glue into this. So what we can then do is pick one side to start with, and we're going to line up our gusset and stick that in. So the rounded corners of the gusset should match to the rounded corners of the wallet, and we can stick that in. So we're going to do one side first. So we're going to stick both gussets from that one side into the wallet, and the side where the head of the zipper is a little bit more awkward to get lined up because that zipper head does take up a little bit of room there. But once you've got that stuck in and you're happy, what we can do is then stitch all the way around this half of the wallet. And then once we've done that, we can then stick the other side of our wallet in, and this is a little bit more tricky because we are now governed by how wide the wallet can open because we've got the gussets stuck in. But we want to get those nice and level with the edges, and then we can stitch all the way around the second half of our wallet. Now, hopefully you've got your wallet looking a little bit like this. And what we're going to do is, using a bone folder, we're going to put that in each of the pockets and just remove any excess glue that there might be there that could stop the cards from sitting in their pockets properly. And that is it. You have finished your zipped wallet. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed making your own zipped wallet, and if you did, you may also enjoy this video.